you know, because you had Mr. Harp as your mentor. He has certain qualities. What certain qualities should one look in their mentor? Because they can't just pick anyone.
I tell you, like, to me, there's different type of mentors. Like me, sometimes I could be hard, but what I tell people is it's not how somebody's saying something. Honestly, it's what they're saying, and people just need to learn to look past how somebody's saying something and listen to what they're saying. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is you miss out on what you need to hear because you're caught up on that. And the faster you learn to be like a duck, let it roll off your back, the quicker you're going to get to where you need to be.
Él dice que hay diferentes estilos de ser líder o mentor y a veces él es duro con la gente, pero usted como persona, cuando alguien le da un aviso o una idea, no importa en cuál manera viene esa idea, porque él es una persona bien estricto. Uno propio debe ser como un pato dice que solamente te da por encima y lo deja ir. No tiene que ponerle importancia a cómo llegó el mensaje, sino el mensaje el mismo, porque tiene que aprender del mensaje. Pero si tú tienes una emoción negativa con el mensaje, nunca vas a aprender, nunca vas a echar para adelante. Y eso es bien importante. Having thick skin is I think is what you're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I mean, it's one thing that I you taught me really quick.
Yeah.
And I kind of grew on that really quick because, you know, in my career track, I've always had thin skin. That's why I'm not in politics and, you know, I didn't get involved as much. But that's the first thing you taught was thick skin. And I didn't need to touch on that again because people don't understand how important it is to not get emotional when someone gives you that message.
You know, I can't speak on how it is to be Hispanic and deal with another Hispanic, but I can speak on being black and dealing with another black man. Mm-hmm. What I try to tell black men is this: like, sometimes you're on a job you're working and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and at the end of the day, you paying somebody. And I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid one time to do it. And when you're not listening to me and you doing it how you want to do it, I'm losing money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it get frustrating. So sometimes you telling somebody something and they get caught up in how you saying something. Mm-hmm. But what people need to realize is there's a difference in working in the street and you working in business. When you're working in business, the owner of the company is the boss. And we're not in the street. Mm-hmm. And I think that black men need to understand that we need to separate business from street. And once we could get past that, and a lot of times I tell people, and it's crazy what I'm going to say, but I tell people treat me like I'm white. Because black people, when you work for white people, you don't debate with them. You don't back and forth, but you back and forth with the black person because, you know, hey, we grew up together, but it's not a community business. It's my business. Mm-hmm. It's my business, and I'm trying to help people. And as time went on, you know, and I got to have these conversations with them. They understand that, and sometimes everybody want to blame everybody from why they where they at, and the truth is.
It's them.
Nobody got you where you at but yourself. Because I just want to be clear about one thing. When I was younger, I had somebody call me a dumbass and I had kids, and it hit me, and I was like, and it said, Rock, you got to take care of your kids, and I'm going to be honest with you, sit right here and tell you. I kept working. I learned what I learned from that white guy, and he was working for me when I got older.
Dice él que cuando uno está trabajando en negocio, él no puede hablar sobre hispano con hispano porque no tiene mucha experiencia en eso, pero cuando él trabaja con gente como él, de color, los trabajadores a veces no lo tratan a él igualmente como un jefe, como si fuera un jefe blanco. Y ella tiene que enseñarle a la gente que de que lo trate a él como si fuera un blanco, como un jefe blanco, porque él necesita ciertas cosas hechas en un día. Y si no están hechas bien la primera vez, él pierde dinero. Porque no tiene tiempo para que la persona va y hace el mismo trabajo 2 o 3 veces. Él no tiene tiempo para eso. So, cuando él le habla a la gente, le habla bien estricto y demanda lo que quiere. Porque si tú vas para un negocio que está corrido por un blanco en la comunidad, tú jamás tú has visto un moreno o hispano hablando para atrás a un blanco jefe, a un jefe que americano. Tú nunca ves eso. Pero a veces cuando tú tienes un jefe que es de color, la gente de color le dan más problemas a ese jefe. Y I will say this, there's no distinction between the black community and Hispanic community when it comes to that. I mean, when you're Hispanic, you know, I guess it depends on what position of power, but they do give you a harder time, and they're always looking for that discount. I mean, that's the biggest thing as a Hispanic. For me as a Hispanic, it's hard for me because as soon as someone see me, you know, can you give me that hookup? Vamos a bregar, you know, don't charge me the whole thing. But it's like, you wouldn't try to do that with anybody else. You want to try that with a white American. But a white American, you negotiate, you would just pay up. And that was it. You don't even say anything.
Yeah.
So why would you try to negotiate if you're a black man, negotiate with another black man, or if you're Hispanic, try to negotiate down another Hispanic who's running a business?
Well, the one thing that I would like to go on record and just you know what a tsunami warning is.
Mm-hmm.
I was interviewed by New Haven Independent years ago, and I talked about the tsunami warning about housing, the rents, and I'm gonna talk about another tsunami warning. Like, I think that we need to warn the people in our community of a wave that's gonna come. And when you talk about a tsunami warning, most people realize that you need to run to another level. Because when that water come in, mm-hmm. if you're not on another level, that you're not going to make it. I think the black and Hispanic community need to understand that the bell is ringing, the water's rising, and we need to get to another level. The level I'm talking about is we need to get our residents employed on these projects. Because the rent is rising. The cost of living here is rising. If our income don't rise, we won't be able to exist here.
Be priced out. I mean, I'm seeing it in. I grew up in New Hallville.
Yeah.
I grew up on Bassett in Winchester. That's why when people see Jose, they, you know, until I say Jose, they think I'm black because my New Haven accent is there and it's thick. But you are correct. I see the gentrification now from when I grew up in that neighborhood. Yale is slowly encroaching. Those rents are getting higher. Déjame decirle bien rápido lo que estás diciendo, que hay un aviso a veces que viene una ola grande, ¿verdad? Hay un aviso, suena la alarma. Y la ola que está diciendo que viene ahora son las rentas. La renta está muy alta para la gente que vive en nuestra comunidad. Aquí ya los locales no van a existir porque ellos no tienen el dinero y no están involucrados en los proyectos que traen dinero. So, no hay hispanos ni gente de color cogiendo esos contratos que viven en New Haven para quedarse aquí. Porque aquí la renta está subiendo cada mes. Y ya hablamos aquí, yo creo que Lugo, ¿verdad? Habló de la renta hace la semana pasada, ¿verdad? Lugo también estaba hablando aquí de la renta de Fairhaven, que están altísimas. Y ya la gente ahí ni puede vivir en Fairhaven por los hispanos porque la renta está subiendo mucho. I was just saying last week we had John Lugo here talking about the same thing, that the community in Fairhaven is getting priced out right now because of the rents going up there to the point that they can't even live in Fairhaven. And if we're from New Haven, we all know that Fairhaven is probably the cheapest property you can buy. But when you're getting priced out of Fairhaven and New Hallville, I mean, where do we go from there?
But I'm you know, when you said that, when I said to you that the media control the narrative, and you said we're gonna have an opportunity to talk, I'm gonna bring something up that some people might not agree with, but I would tell people just check just do your research, because I'm not going to talk about something that I did my research. So when people talk about the gentrification going on in this city, me myself, I look at it a little differently, because I'm gonna tell you why. I look at New Haven like somebody who got the Super Bowl or somebody who got the Olympics. When a country get the Olympic or a state gets the Olympic, it's all kind of development goes on. So in our city, yes, it's growing, rents is getting high, but the truth is this: there's opportunities here. So the key to everything is, if we have more opportunities, would we have to move?
No, of course not.
Would it be defined as gentrification? No, because we would be making money and we would help build the city and we could grow with the city and stay here. But because I'm gonna go to this, because I feel like leaders need to lead, and some leaders should be in charge of making sure our residents can exist here if they want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
True. If they want to,
they should be able to exist here. There's opportunities here that if you want to stay here, you should be able to stay here because of the amount of building that's going on. But when you look at the training, access to apprenticeship programs in order for you to get into the union and the non-union stuff, and all the different deals that the tax abatements is going on, and the fact that we don't leverage the abatement with real jobs for people. Like you talk about, we're gonna try to do this. No, let's not talk about what we're gonna try to do. Let's talk about what we're gonna do. Because they've tried to do it all the time, but when you pull the documentation and you go through it and look at it, like, it's embarrassing.
Estaba hablando de lo que dice el señor Williams, es que si uno quiere quedarse aquí en nuestra ciudad, es una decisión propia de la persona. No debe ser por otra cosa afuera de su preferencia de vivir en New Haven. Pero no hay oportunidades, no hay entrenamiento, no hay certificaciones que necesita para uno echar para adelante y quedarse en nuestra ciudad. Por eso la gente se está yendo, porque aquí como líderes tenemos que estar asegurando que estamos dando empleo a la residencia de la gente que viven aquí en New Haven, no a gente que viven allá afuera. Porque si no damos el dinero aquí, no se va a quedar la gente aquí, no se puede. Y entonces eso es lo que tienen que estar enfocados los líderes aquí en la ciudad de New Haven. I've noticed also, real quick, individuals who are moving to the valley in droves because the rent is cheaper there. I mean, that's just bottom line. I had a couple of friends looking for rent in New Haven, and it's just unaffordable right now for a one-bedroom here. It is ridiculous. If you don't have Section 8 or any kind of housing assistance, which doesn't even exist for most people now because it's so hard to get into that system, that they can't stay. And then you're right with the job. So the opportunities you're saying here, that just people are just not trained to take those opportunities.
Yeah. Well, just let's just talk about the Hispanic community for a minute. How many Hispanics that you knowing that's graduating out of our school system, that's getting educated to the point where they're getting scholarships and they're going to college? So when you look at what's going on in our city, we're graduating the Black and Hispanic kids to the streets. And they're not educated or trained to a certain degree where they even qualify for the jobs where they can stay here.
Right out the gate in high school, because now, I agree. Lo que dice él, que ahora mismo no hay educación en el sistema para la juventud, que cuando sale de la high y a veces no pueden ir al colegio, a coger una oportunidad, un trabajo seguidita, que se salen de la escuela porque ya todavía no están listos. El sistema no nos están preparando para la vida real que está allá afuera, que es bien difícil. So you're right that more and more jobs now are not requiring college degrees, but less and less of these individuals have the skill set, the business mindset. They're not really So you're proposing instead of college prep, almost like business prep.
Here's what I'm
focus.
Here's what I'm proposing. Let me see your hand for a minute. Flip it over. You see what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm. Take your pulse.
Exactly. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Your pulse tells me what's going on with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They're not taking the pulse of what's happening in this city. If they looked at what the pulse was and teach the kids for what's actually happening out here,
I agree.
You put them in a better situation. When you look at what's going on in our region, they're not teaching the kids in our school what's going on in our region. So they're graduating to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the curriculum that they feel like we need. Has anybody did an assessment on what they're teaching? How is it benefiting them? Like it's failing our kids. And the Black and Hispanic leaders in this city need to look at that. And
lo que dice es que lo más importante es coger el pulso de la comunidad para saber lo que necesita la juventud, porque la juventud no están preparándolo bien para el futuro. Y los líderes de esta ciudad, que sea hispano o gente de color, no importa quién, necesitamos hacer un esfuerzo más grande para preparar a esta gente, la juventud, para el negocio. I will agree with you that the system is kind of broken when it comes to education, because I'm a big proponent of IT. I think IT is the future, but you don't need a college degree to work in IT anymore, to do data entry. You can work from home. It's the number one work from home job. You can do data entry all day from your crib. And I don't just see that, it's taking too long, personally, for that kind of system to go. To get developed, to get IT, because you can, these kids, they're born and raised with a phone.
Well, look at this. We got a Board of Education budget, hundreds of millions of dollars. We got pensions being paid out, millions of dollars, and look what's being taught.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dice él que hay en el sistema de educación aquí hay cientos de millones de dólares. Y hay millones de dólares en pensiones, pero ¿qué estamos enseñando a la juventud? I would agree I can't disagree with you that these kids are not as prepared for the real world scenarios. And the education system is somewhat to blame in New Haven. You're a solution man. What do you see as the turning point to maybe, right the ship? Because, to move an institution.
Well, listen.
Institution is a monolith. How do you move it?
Here's you got to realize. Now, when you're in rough water, what you want is a good captain.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the wheel of the ship. I just feel like that's the hard thing that New Haven seem like they can't do. Like, they can't get a good captain to navigate us through these rough waters. We have had class after class after class graduate from our school system. Not saying that there are people going to another level, because they are. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, how many kids are graduating, can't get a good job, and still staying with their parents? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, we're paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're paying pensions, and I just think that we need to stop that. We need to take a break, check the pulse of what's going on. Reevaluate the curriculum that we teach. We need to bring trades back into the schools, nursing fields back in the schools, at least to give them something, so when they come out and they come to me, they know a little something. Mm-hmm. And I could build off of that. But when you come to me and you know nothing, after we spent all this money teaching these kids, what are we teaching them? Wasting all this money, and they get out of school, they can't take nothing that they learned to get no kind of job. That's a waste of money. And we need to stop that.
Él dice que cuando un estudiante sale de la high, no está preparado para ningún trabajo. So él dice que la solución es que los líderes cogen el pulso de la comunidad y preparar esta juventud, porque él dice que cuando él está entrevistando a alguien que es joven para carpintería o construcción, ellos saben absolutamente nada. Y que eso es malgastar dinero, que tú gastas 12 años en la high entonces no está preparado ni para un trabajo de enfermería, ni construcción, ni nada, porque esos clases básicos ya no existen en la high. No, ya no es parte de nuestro sistema. So, ¿cómo vamos a preparar gente o darle una oportunidad a un joven si ellos no tienen ni lo básico para empezar el trabajo? Lo básico. All right, we're about to wrap it up here. Mr. Williams, I do want to thank you for your time and everything that you've done for our community and looking at the education system. You called out the leaders in our community to make a change, or you call for the people involved in construction, be black or Hispanic, to really come together and work on who's getting the contracts, who's getting employed, to make sure that the money does stay somewhere local. Because you're right, people come here. And I've noticed that in my community because back in the day, Fairhaven was all Puerto Ricans. Now they're all Central Americans, and all the Puerto Ricans I know, they all moved to the burbs. They either live in Hampton, North Haven, Brantford. They don't live here anymore. They take their money and they run. But there's opportunity here in New Haven. That's what you said. Any parting shots, any parting words that you want to give the community?
I feel like before we leave here, we need to make a difference. It's not just about being a good parent, uncle, cousin. We need to make a difference. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make a difference. And I'm hoping that others do the same thing. And the only way we're going to make a difference is we put everything to the side. Those that feel like they're leaders, show some leadership, and let's start building this bridge between the black and Hispanic community. Because although you say black and brown, very rarely you see black and brown people doing anything together. And I think that we owe our communities, we owe better, especially if we're saying we're leaders. A real leader need to identify a problem and talk about problem solving. I'm identifying the problem. The problem is that we don't work together. And the truth is that we need to start working together. And anybody feel like I'm making that up, you know what I mean? Please show me some examples in New Haven where they do it, because very rarely I see it.
Dice él que lo más importante es hacer una diferencia en la vida de mucha gente. No importa que es un padre o un hijo o un líder, el propósito es hacer una diferencia en su comunidad. Y vamos a empezar trabajando juntos. La solución es trabajar juntos. No importa si eres hispano o una persona de color, lo más importante es que lo traemos juntos para traer soluciones y trabajar. No quejarse, porque eso es lo que hace la gente, se reúne para quejarse, pero si no, y si hay un ejemplo en la ciudad de New Haven, cuando hay gente trabajando juntos, que por favor, séñanos, porque ahora mismo no se ve esa comunidad, no se ve esa unión entre nuestra comunidad, de gente trabajando juntos, los líderes de nuestra comunidad, si existen, o si tú crees que tú eres uno, trabajar junto con otros líderes para hacer una diferencia. Well, Mr. Williams, I would like to thank you for coming down here. I appreciate you giving us your time. I know you got to go down and make some more money and more money and more money and keep making a difference. I personally want to thank you for everything you've done for our community. I know that you've made a big difference in our community, and your philanthropy work. You know, that sometimes, unfortunately, people wait too long to celebrate their people. And I think that you're one of the people that we need to celebrate and start taking care of now. And not wait till you're Bill Dyson's age. And, Bill Dyson's like a national treasure now. I saw him this morning, and, I celebrate him every time I see Mr. Dyson, no matter what.
I went to school with his sons.
So Mr. Dyson.
Yeah.
So
he was a school teacher at Jackie Robinson.
And he was in Ivy School. He did all those. But you're at that level already. But you know what I'm saying? But what people need to know is that we need to start celebrating and taking care of people like you already. Not waiting until you're 60, 65 and stuff, and then be like, the great one. No. Mr. Williams is here now. He's alive. He's young. He's got some energy behind him. He's willing to come work with you. And for that, I thank you, Mr. Williams, for your time. You're listening to WNHH 103.5 FM, La Voz Hispana Radio from downtown New Haven, streaming live everywhere, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I would like to thank everyone for listening. This is K-PASA. I'm Jose Candelario. You guys have a great day.